Hello, Grace Baptist Church. I trust that you are all doing well. And I'm excited to share with you another devotion from the book of Ecclesiastes. We're learning from the preacher, the wise man, Solomon. Now, here today, we really are going to get into some practical things, some things that really are just bothering people today. In fact, we're going to talk about justice. We're going to talk about justice and injustice. And his experiment about life, he tackled these two things. We need to accept that there are certain realities in life. They're not good. We don't like them. Sometimes they'll happen to us. We understand that the world can be unkind and the world can be unfriendly. So first of all, he does address this thing of injustice. Injustice. Chapter 4, verse 1. So I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such that were oppressed. And they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. What a verse. The king said, I looked at our legal system. Now this was really done by Solomon. He was the king in his kingdom. He said, I noticed that there were men in power who oppressed the poor. They oppressed the weak. And these people who were being treated with injustice were weeping. And it was in the hands of their oppressors. Their oppressors had the power to give them justice, to give them relief. But you know what the harsh reality was? They didn't. Every one of us know people who have been treated unkind. Every one of us know people who've been treated with injustice. History is replete with examples in our country, in other countries, and things that go on even today. What do we learn from this? Okay? Can we set out on a crusade and change all things? Well, the fact is, no. Mankind has been crusading for all kinds of things since the Garden of Eden, but we never managed to straighten it out because humanity is sinful. Humanity is wicked. Humanity is selfish. And at times, people who will look like they're trying to help you are actually trying to hurt you. So what do we learn from this? Well, the harsh reality, be wise, be careful, right? Be honest, do what you're supposed to do. I like this phrase, this sentence that I've read sometime in the past, and that is, meet your responsibilities and use your privileges to help people. Of course, if everybody did that, we'd have a wonderful world. That I live up to my responsibilities as a pastor, as a husband, as a father, as a son, as a friend, etc., as a neighbor. And that whatever privileges God has given me, whatever wisdom God has given me, whatever power or money God has given me, I use that to help people. That's the answer. You know, we're all aware that not too long ago, Queen Elizabeth passed away. And I saw an interview with her where some years back where she mentioned that all the mail that she gets. And she mentioned that she had gotten a particular letter where someone was really just imploring her to help. And she said herself, they'd said something that really got her heart. They said, Your Majesty, if you don't help me, I won't get help. You're the only one who can help me. And she said she thought that was beautiful. She helped him. She helped him. She had the power and she had the authority. She used her privileges to help someone who was just a common everyday someone. They weren't royalty, such as she. But she helped them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we don't occupy this kind of position as Queen Elizabeth, but all of us as men and women can help and encourage some people around us. And thank God He is always able to help. Listen, corruption is awful. It's real. That's the problem. That's what he's talking about. It's something that's real. So oppressing people, exploiting people, putting people through pain that doesn't have to happen, to be unconcerned about those who are suffering. This is not right. We could try to be those people who can help, but don't despair in life because it occurs, because it has been occurring since the Garden of Eden, and it is going to occur until Jesus comes and straightens all these things out. And we need to keep our eyes on the Lord. He mentions something else here that is that's not good, and that's envy. Envy. The Bible says in verse 4, again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. He said, here you have a man, or here you have a woman. They're just an excellent person. They work and they produce and they're successful. He goes, but then their neighbor hates them for it. Or then somebody hates him for it and they attack him for it. He goes, what is it with this vanity? Now, it can be exasperating in life when you as a man or a woman, you're just doing the right thing. You're trying to honor God. You're trying to please the Lord. And you provide for your family. And you serve the Lord in your local church. And that there's people who will come at you for nothing more than envy. Of course, this is terrible. But the Bible points something else out. And that's laziness. It says in verse 5, the fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Now that's a little bit different there, this poetry. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. What's going on here? It's speaking of a man or a woman who's lazy and they simply live off of others. They'll almost consume their family, right? They'll live off their parents. They'll live off their siblings. They'll live off of people close to them without any apology. It's as if they're eating their own flesh. Someone put it this way, laziness is the comfortable path towards self-destruction. It might be fun at times to be lazy, but the Bible tells us clearly, and experience teaches us, if you do so, you're going to end up being miserable. The Bible says this in Proverbs 6:10, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, here it is again, a little folding of the hands to sleep, just a little more sleep, just a little more goofing off. Just a little more not doing what we're supposed to, just a little more not studying for our exams. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. He said poverty it sneaks up on you, okay? Problems sneak up on you. Like one who travels one step at a time, another step, and they're there. They arrived at their destination. There are people in this world who, because of poor decisions and laziness, they end up in a place they never wanted to be. In fact, when you look at the facts, when you look at the reality of what life is, there are people who are poor and in trouble who should be. They followed the path that led to trouble. And the wise man is saying, hey, this is something we have to recognize in life. And then finally we end with this. We end with that man or woman who's balanced. That balance. Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4:6, better is an handful, okay, with quietness, than both hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, what a proverb that is. It's like this. I could have wealth in this hand and wealth in this hand, but I have no room for peace. I have no room for quietness. He said this, it's better. And by the way, if you have a handful, here in this poetry, you're doing great. You have a handful. You're blessed. But make sure you have quietness. Make sure you have peace. Let us not live our lives where we're trying to grab and get all we can, but we neglect our families. There are many things in life money can buy, but the most important things in life money has never been able to buy, and it never will. It's not going to buy love. It's not going to buy compassion. It's not going to buy joy. It's not going to buy the relationship that a mother or father will want with their children. In this world, and especially in this country, the United States of America, we have a lot. And we could have a lot more, perhaps, but just don't pay too much for that. Don't pay too much. Be that man or woman who is balanced. Thank you, and God bless you.